Okay. This video by Rom Willis discusses the method by which women shoot their shot. And although I have linked you directly to this particular source of advice provided by someone who apparently has had some time on this earth already, I would like to save you the time investment to say that it is a complete waste of time. It is more than obvious at this point that it is quite simple to get attention on YouTube by discussing dating advice, especially when this information caters to young men. And we would be fools to believe that this information is exclusively consumed by men. Regardless, let us be completely clear. There are more whores today than there have ever been, and the sexual marketplace is almost entirely predatory. Dating advice in this climate is snake oil business. At the end of the day, there is no reason why men shouldn't be able to speak up and a woman shouldn't be able to be genuine or honest in her response to him, and vice versa. As much as humans wish to separate themselves from animals, except for furries, though even there are exceptions, it is insane that we continue to operate as if we have some sort of mating calls to look out for or to equip to get into the position of courting a potential lover or even a casual encounter. Even if we look at the course of history and how men have operated, especially with dealing with women who are outside, that is, at clubs, bars, events, even so-called career-minded women, it has been historically uncommon for random women outside to be peaceful in closing the gap between either side's interest, whether to take a shot at creating a relationship that lasts or to simply satisfy the lust impulse. Bill Cosby by far was not the only man putting quaaludes in women's drinks, and let's not forget that he was actually a man with notoriety. Men with experience also know that many women in general prefer to be inebriated before engaging in sexual acts, which I can only honestly presume is because of a perceived difficulty to assume the proper necessary role she needs to assume to get into the mode. This is a tragic thought, but not because I pity them. Rather, it is a tragic thought because they also use it to discredit their actions and pretend that certain things never happened and were mindless interactions. These are the type of parameters that put men into the false rape predicaments that destroy their reputations before they are tried, and never destroy her reputation. A key point that Rom makes in his video is that women shoot their shot in a very poor, unaccountable way. He also says that there isn't anything wrong with their approach. But I sharply disagree, because if there was nothing wrong with their approach, then men would be more satisfied with their success rates in finding women to satisfy their desire to extend or enrich their kingdoms or otherwise satisfy our intrinsic carnal desires. Men are not only trapped by the illusion of women's independence, but also by the shackles of excessive legal protections of women to be unaccountable. It is dangerous that we have these sorts of laws which are created to appeal to people's emotions, because laws help to create precedents in our society, some of which can be quite unhelpful. Surely, if many, if not all of these legal protections were removed, including at this point the science behind divorcement, then everyone would apparently be more satisfied. Rom mentions a type of woman who is more on the approach side of things, saying that she is bound to be more aggressive in the relationship anyway, and is thus slightly more undesirable than the Venus flytrap-esque damsels who aim to predatorily lure their male victims into taking the initiative. But all of these types of women just sound like absolute nightmares to me, since we are talking about these women out loud. It makes me think of the times when fathers would lead their daughters to their next masters. Yeah, a place where better judgment is used and trust is established to help lead these lost slut into worthy environments that are conducive to the desires of the kingdom of the virtuous man. It is shown time and time again that women have poor judgment when it comes to men. And one source of this is what they are taught to think of men by their upbringing and by other jealous and conniving mothers and fathers. How do women shoot their shot? By bullshitting. And certainly, if she has been recently enough heartbroken, a man can find himself having an easier time helping her to shame herself in an attempt to wash her brain of her judgment of herself for whatever she experienced in her prior situation. I say to men that if they were unsuccessful in finding or keeping a worthy woman before they graduated high school, that their next best bet is to be in consistently shared environments with the woman he desires. Although even then, again, There is so much work to do with our culture to fix the prejudices and imbalances that have persisted therein, which have disallowed people to hold employment or even to stay in regular places for long. We are drifting further and further from each other, and women clearly have no intent on actively trying herself to bring us closer. Women's independence is stupid and degenerative, and the only way for us to really deal with this is to do away with it and to put strength back into the male spirit, not only to take what is his, but also to be thoughtful of his daughters and direct them to great men when they see them. Those with ears, let them hear. I do want to note one final point that Rom makes in the video where he says, if you think you got it but nobody wants it, then you ain't really got it, which only holds so much merit. Again, considering the success of this niche, it is clear that men are and have been trying to do what they can to make themselves presentable or otherwise attractive to the opposite sex. And considering the point I made earlier about women participating in the consumption of this content, and being an experienced man myself, I know that women consuming the content is to further shield themselves from trying men. We are setting men up for failure to believe that regardless of all the hard work they put in, maintaining physical fitness and being obsessed with money, it means nothing if the women still don't desire him anyway. Especially considering that most of the time, their apparent physical prowess will be tested by her masochistic fantasies, and they will also constantly be convinced that they need to keep up the impression that the constant expenditure of money is the key to life or maintaining anyone's interest or loyalty. Both of these things are quite obviously disagreeable, and yet are a harsh reality for many, many men. God bless us all. Get rid of the 19th Amendment. Get rid of child support. We need to stop catering to women's emotions, and we will see our society and culture flourish like never before. I guarantee it.